look, obviously that was difficult with Zach last night getting injured in the fight like that. Just when you see that happen, kind of what's going through your head, and how was that moment for you?
I mean, probably the same thing that's going through anyone's head. You just hope that he's okay. Yeah, so it was good to see him up and about after the game, and then see him this morning. So it's one of the toughest guys I've ever met and ever played with, and obviously has one hard skull too. So it's good to see him up and around now.
You know, you've obviously fought in your career. Something like that is hard to watch. Where do you think it's headed? I mean, generally there's been a decline in fighting. I think it bumped up a little bit last year with all the divisional games. You as a player, like, has it even changed on the ice in your career about trying to get into a fight, or guys willing to drop the gloves if they've done something? Like, where are we at with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have the conversation every year about fighting, and if it's going out of the game, coming in the game, there's always a place for it in the game. I think that's one of the unique things about hockey, is that you can police yourselves a little bit with that aspect of the game. Obviously, it's at a point now, like, you can't just be a fighter and really stay in the league. Like, you have to be able to do so much more and play the game. So I think it's going in the right direction, but I think there'll always be a place for it in the league and in the game.
What do you think of, you know, some of the junior leagues where if you fight X number of times, then it's a suspension, and this many more fights is a more game suspension? Like, do you think that would ever work in the NHL, or do you like that in the NHL?
No, I think that we're grown men. I think we should be able to make our own decisions in that regard.
Hi, Darnell. Further on that subject, we saw a couple of things with Zach now and with Jujar last year, that sometimes bad things can happen when you get in a scrap, but at the same time, sometimes you need to get in a scrap. Is that always it can't be at the forefront of your mind that something bad can happen, but is it at the back of your mind every time you're in that situation?
Honestly, no, not really. When you get into it, usually in the heat of the moment, you're just playing off emotion, adrenaline, and I mean, get those kind of situations, like, on both sides. Usually, when you drop your gloves, you're not worried about the welfare of the guy on the other side, right? Like, that's just the honest truth about when guys get in fights, and but it's scary. Like, that's what can happen. But you know, at the same time, yeah, I think anytime that you get in those kind of situations, you're usually pretty fired up, and you're not really thinking about that happening.
Even if it's not a bad thing, it can be like a hand or whatever. So do you, given your role on the team, have to be a lot more careful when you do that, because they can't afford to lose Darnell Nurse for 6 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to a point I can't be putting myself in that situation where I'm even, you get an instigator or whatnot, you're out of the game for 17 minutes, and that's not it's not worth it. So yeah, there's always going to be times, and I know as a player, like, I'm going to get heated, and there's going to be times when I get in fights, but yeah, it can't be all the time. It's definitely can't. For myself, I think it hurts the team more to be in the box for those minutes.
Just for Zach as a guy, he's had some bad luck in the last little bit of a stretch. As a teammate, your thoughts about him trying to get healthy and get some traction and get back to being the Zach Cassian he used to be.
Yeah, I mean, he came into camp. He's in great shape. Like, it's very unfortunate what happened, but knowing him, when he's allowed to get back and feels better and able to get back into the lineup, he's going to bring that energy and that style of play that he brings each and every time he suits up. And he's got that excitement about him, and he's such a big part of our team. And the energy that he brings, like, obviously fighting and playing hard is one thing, but he just brings energy each and every shift. And for our team, you miss it when it's out of the lineup. So hopefully he get back and playing with us here soon. And yeah, he's a big part of his team, and as a teammate, he's one of my favorite guys I've ever played with.
Darnell, what was it like going against Chason last night? There was a couple of situations in the corner where you were standing beside him and pushing and shoving. What was that like?
Yeah, it's different. It's always different when you have a guy that you played with for a few years that puts on a different jersey. It seems like a couple of guys want to go in their own division now, so it's a little different. But no, Chaser played great last night, and it was nice to get out there and battle with him, even though it was in a different jersey.
And he looked like he was doing the same thing as he did in Edmonton too, the net front presence on the power play. So
yeah, he's really good at that role, and he gets out there and then creates plays. I think he made some pretty good plays last night, so good for him. And hopefully he can, like I said, earn that job and play against him a lot more this year.
in the preseason, you're still playing tons of minutes, even though they want to see Bouchard play and such. You're still playing 27, 28 minutes. Does it seem like that? Or have you told Tip, look, we're supposed to be looking at other guys now. I'm still playing 27 minutes.
I just like to play hockey. You put me out there as much as you want. I enjoy going out there and being a part of every situation. And when you play that kind of role, a lot of times you're playing a lot of minutes. So, yeah, it's the end of the preseason. I like it because my legs and mind and sharpness and really getting into the game is there. So, yeah, I know it's the preseason, but it's always fun when you play to play a big role. Even if for me, I'd want to play that many minutes if it was just a scrimmage. So,
Good, thank you.
It looked to us, Darnell, like John took a hit there, and then McDavid kind of went after the guy a little bit back up the ice. I'm not sure if we were reading that wrong, but when you see that from the bench and you see Connor stepping in that way, I mean, is that something you feel like the whole team needs and is a good thing to see?
I mean, that's how we all care about each other, right? That's a good sign of a team that's tight, a team that cares about each other as players, as people, stuff like that. You just care about the guy sitting beside you, and so when your captain's doing that, you don't want him doing that all the time. I mean, there's you don't want him losing them for 2 minutes, but it just shows this group, we're a tight group, and that's what you want.
You also have a goaltender that's not afraid to stand up for himself a little bit. I mean, obviously you feel you need to step in and protect Mike Smith, but it's maybe a little different because he can kind of handle his own business in some ways.
I mean, I just tried to stand up for him a little bit there. It's like a raging bull coming over my back. So he likes to get it, yeah.